Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kieno with STEMwithKieno.com, and today we are going to be in the CH-47D simulator, which is the Chinook. This is a tandem rotor helicopter, so it does not need the traditional tail rotor, and it doesn't have the NOTAR system, which is no tail rotor system. So today, let's go to skyvector.com. Give a shout out to skyvector.com for the online aeronautical charts. We're going to be departing Wilkes-Barre Scranton Airport, and we're going to be heading over to Williamsport Airport. A couple of checkpoints. We should see Wyoming Valley Airport as we get turned on course. We're going to be in Class Delta airspace, which is depicted by the blue broken lines here. Fill elevation is 962 feet, and we're going to stay above 3,000. Now, you see these dark lines here. This is what we call a maximum elevation figure. So we definitely, anything in this grid, the highest elevation of anything in this grid comes up to 3,000 feet. So we'll stay well above that, and we have the same maximum elevation figure for this grid. We could navigate a couple ways. We could depart this airport, go directly to the VOR, and then the airport. But I think as long as we stay on course, we should be okay. Maybe I may set up Williamsport VOR on 114.4, and just for some distance measuring indications, to just kind of give me an idea as to how far we are away from the navigation aid. All right, our elevation out at Williamsport Regional Airport is 528 feet, and so there's a right-hand traffic pattern for runway 2730, and I believe right here at this ridge there are some there's some obstacles in that area, and that may be the reason why, or it may be the city. Yeah, it's probably the city for noise abatement. If we see this yellow area, this is pretty much the town of Williamsport, and basically we would be executing right-hand traffic patterns to keep the aircraft from overflying the town there. So that's what that RP for 2730 means. Okay, if we were here, we could make left-hand traffic patterns. We would not be over the city. But right-hand traffic patterns if we're going to be shooting approaches for a runway. Well, 27 right-hand, I don't know. It might be noise abatement procedures, the reason why they have the patterns like that. So I won't make that an assumption, but that's pretty much our trip. So we should see our checkpoint here as we depart Wilkes-Barre Scranton Airport. There's a private airport there. We have a road that kind of just curls in, like, I guess this is Route 49. That pretty much runs the course of our flight. So we should be seeing this road, another, or actually a heliport there. Wow, I should have did this at night. So we could see the rotating beacon on the heliport if it is depicted. Today's simulator we're going to be using is Microsoft Steam, or Microsoft Flight Simulator Steam. And let's go ahead and jump in and get ourselves on course. The other pertinent information, the true course is 275, but we will be flying a heading of 288 magnetically and 55 nautical miles. So this is not going to be the shortest trip in the world, but just wanted to just give you guys some a little pilotage experience. And pilotage is kind of looking at our map and looking outside and making sure that what we see on our map checks with what we are visually seeing, and getting ourselves from a known point to a destination. We won't call it an unknown point, we'll just call it a destination. And again, a big shout out to skyvector.com and Microsoft Flight Simulator Steam, as well, as we are using the tools of their trades. So let's jump in. All right. We are on the closed runway. We're not even going to be probably using about any, we probably won't even use 500 feet of this runway, but we do not take off and land on closed runways. But I walked this runway and I surveyed it, and it is good for what our purposes and what we are doing today. We'll only be on this for a little while. All right, again, this is the C847D Chinook, and it does not have a tail rotor. It has a tandem rotor, which counteracts the torque of the front rotor. So these rotors are counter-rotating and counteracting each other's torque. I believe this is the color scheme for the Army's 1st Cavalry. Not sure. I believe that's what this paint scheme said it was. So let's jump on in. And let's get out of here, guys. Here we go. And we're off. So left. And actually we'll clear right. I don't see anything out there. So we look before we leave. Clear right, turn right. Here we go. Okay, we should see, if you look up to the upper right hand corner, we have our GPS displayed, and we're pretty much rolling on course right about now. So we should see an airport to the left of our course. And I'm just kind of crapping it a little bit to the right here as we are slightly left of our desired course. Okay, so if you look out of the windshield there in the 11 o'clock position, there is an airport. Okay, I didn't make mention of the river that we're rolling over here, but you want to pick out outstanding terrain features that kind of let you know. That's a pretty long river too. To let you know that you're on course. So we're pretty much 288 on the heading, and that airport is there, so that just kind of, it's a reminder that, hey, we're rolling in the right direction. When you guys get to Fort Rucker, you are going to be relying very heavily on charts and sectionals for navigation. And you're going to have to get you're going to have a knack for the ability to aviate and navigate using these charts. And so I can just get myself squared away here. Just gonna get a little altitude. Definitely don't want to hit anything. So there's the first checkpoint that we spoke of. Hopefully we can pick up this heliport that we saw down the road a little bit. And hopefully we can pick up that heliport. It looks like it is depicted up ahead on the, well, there's a private airport and a heliport there, so we should see another couple of outstanding terrain features as we fly along here. We're currently moving about 150 knots over the ground, which is a really good airspeed for a rotary wing aircraft. And the weather's nice. We don't have any weather that is going to be a factor today. Yeah, we're moving at a really, really nice ground speed, and looking really good. Our estimated time of route is 15 minutes. So like I said, it's not a very, very long trip. I just wanted to kind of do a pilotage trip for my SIFT guys. Now, you guys will not have a GPS. I just put it up for video, just keeping the video as short as possible. I try not to make these videos run too long, and to give you guys maybe like a couple pointers. Let's see here. But we're looking good. We're on course. 14, another 14 minutes. We should. Be at our destination. You're going to sway your coffee here. Let's get a little flyby. It was a beautiful visual there. And there's that winding road that we talked about. Now that winding road is actually going to break, turn south on us. And that is another indication that we are near our destination airport. This winding road should be with us most of the trip. So these are factors, or these are things that you need to look for, you know, when you are performing pilotage navigation. Find a road, find a major highway, find, I don't know, water towers, airports, things of that nature. This is just more evidence of saying, hey, we're on course. Looks like it's kind of turning on us now. No, actually, it's, you can see it there at 11 o'clock still. So, mountainous regions. Down at Fort Rucker, there's not a whole lot of mountains going on down there. But there is something called a lenticular cloud, or lens-shaped clouds. If you see a lens-shaped cloud over a mountainous area, you do not want to be in that area. That is that's an indication that there is severe turbulence in that mountain. But you know, over at in that mountainous area, and you definitely don't want to be playing with severe winds or turbulence when you're flying around mountains. That is a no-no, because you could get, like, say, like a downburst, microburst, or downwash air, and potentially kind of turning it, putting your situation into what we call a SIFT, or control flight to terrain. So there's no lenticular clouds over the mountainous regions. Clouds are actually well above the mountainous areas, which is a good thing. We have to understand that clouds are a signpost of what's going on with the weather. I will do another detailed video about that, but you know, we see certain clouds, we can probably expect certain conditions. Say, like, I'm actually going to do a cloud video. I think I already did a cloud video. but I will drop it in the either in the comments or something like that, a link when I find it. But cumulonimbus clouds are an indication of kind of little rough weather. It might be clear day, and not like totally clear, but you could have cumulonimbus clouds, and you could have some really serious winds going on. They look kind of like mashed potatoes. Your stratus clouds. Now, strangely, the stratus cloud, when you have stratus type, or what we call stratiform type clouds, basically that actually makes for some very smooth air. But you know what? The visibility is not always that great. So, hey, here's certain trade-offs for different weather conditions. We can see over there that the elevation is kind of higher over there than it is here, and that's why we're flying over here. Love the detail, man. Look at those trees, man. Windy road. Actually, we just crossed over one. Another thing you need to keep track of are winds. We need to get a feel for what the winds are doing. Our winds are kind of sort of coming out of the northwest as I use the little Jefferson Weather Connect thing. I can actually, have the weather downloaded into the simulator so that the weather will kind of act like real world weather. And I did that. So when I checked and I did a brief, the winds were out of the northeast, like 300 or something like that, 325, something like that. And about 3,000, I believe, they were gusting about 25 knots. So you have to be cognizant of that, because if the winds are blowing from this side, it's going to tend to want to drag us to the left of our desired course. So, we definitely might want to just kind of turn into the wind a little bit. We call that crabbing. And you're almost flying kind of like sideways, or I don't want to say out of trim, but kind of sort of. So just some more operational considerations. If you look at the GPS, you can see that we kind of drifted left. We have 5 minute ETA remaining. Intersections are really good. If you can pick up intersections for your pilotage, that is a great thing as well. It's really good. As we're just past that intersection, so any type of intersections, water towers, any type of depictions or outstanding terrain features you can pick up visually that you may see on your map. And if your map is labeling it, then it should be a really good checkpoint if they've taken time out to actually depict the said item on the chart. Correction, that was, I guess, 8 minutes on our estimated time of arrival. Okay, so we're almost there. Not a particularly long flight, but just some things that we wanted to discuss as we travel. When we do these videos, we always have to, the last thing you want is dead air. Where we're just like kind of flying, unless I'm trying to avoid like some traffic, because traffic is also built into the simulator. So we're definitely keeping our head on the swivel, and we're looking around as we're flying along. We're not just kind of down here focused on our instruments, because we're not an instrument meteorological in that type of situation. This is a visual flight situation. So our head is outside on the swivel, looking for traffic, looking for other aircraft that may be in the area. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that when you get near airports, that's kind of where aircraft kind of congregate. So you may see a couple aircraft like on our route of flight. We all always have to keep looking and scanning all the time. So, but near airports is where airplanes are coming, helicopters are coming, everything's coming for the purpose of landing. And so that's typically where you get a lot of congestion. You've got to monitor the frequency, see the who's who in the air traffic area. We're coming from the east. So if another, aircraft came over the frequency talking to the tower, like, Williamsport Tower, this is November, blah, 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 blah. We're 10 miles to the east, inbound full stop. Then that's telling me, hey, there's another aircraft coming from the east. Now, if I'm further than 10 miles out, he's going to be in front of me. If I'm closer than 10 miles, then, I need to be looking ahead and seeing if I can locate that aircraft. So that is what we call situational awareness. We're always looking outside. We're always, seeing where we are, where other people are. And, it's just something that we have to do as pilots. We've got to keep our eyes open. It's a safety thing. We just don't fly blindly. Unless we're getting, and even if you are getting the radar flight forward, you're still going to keep your head on the swivel. So I always say, when I teach guys, I tell them, look, your head should be like a closed circuit TV camera. And if you've ever seen a closed circuit TV camera, the head is just kind of just scanning, swiveling, observing. So that's what we've been doing this whole time. In addition to just monitoring, we come to our instruments and we monitor, make sure your pressure, oil pressure, temperature's good, make sure everything is in the green. All needles that are in the green are good to go. If you see anything in your systems that are red or a needle in the red, that is a bad thing. And if you continue, if you're in your yellow, that's caution. It's like, hey, we keep doing this, we could potentially have a problem. Depends on what the instrument is. But if it's red, you definitely don't want to be red. So I'm thinking about that right hand pattern for 3-0 and 2-7. I think we're almost there, and we're looking like 3 minutes for an ETA. I can see the approach light, so I can see why it is a right hand tracking pattern, because you got like the little mountain pass to the south. So if you are positioning yourself for runway 27 or 30, I believe I saw on the map, it's to avoid that mountain, the little mountain pass you got going on over there. You guys can kind of see it. It's it's right there. Basically, the airport traffic area is there. In future videos, I'm going to actually listen to ATIS, which is the Automatic Terminal Information Service. And, the Automatic Terminal Information Service, we call ATIS, basically lets us know the airport conditions. They may tell you, hey, runway 27 is closed, or runway 30 is closed, or there's actually deer on the field, and to use caution. That happens a lot more often than you think, to be honest with you, unless the gates are super, super high and the airport is super, super secured. But at some private airports, the deer and animals might just be able to walk on the runway. Typically, you would see this at night, and so it's just something. If the activity at that airport is not really that busy, then the animals may feel comfortable, like, hey, man, we can hang out here, man. I don't see any humans, or not a lot of humans. That highway down there. Okay. So we're about 1 minute out now, and we're scanning still. So, yeah. So the Automatic Terminal Information Service gives you wind direction, wind speed, altimeter setting, just all the updated conditions at that airport, and and it's just information, and it's information that's broadcast every hour. It typically changes every hour, and basically, you know, it cuts down on a lot of radio channel chatter. Before we contact Williamsport Airport, we could just tell the controller we have information X-ray, and that will tell the controller, like, okay, I understand, I know what's going on at this airport. Okay, just get this puppy slowed down. That's our airport. You see that's a rate that's higher than us over there. So yeah, that's the reason why they call for right pattern. You're going to be attempting to land on 27 and there's a little technique we need to use to get this thing slowed down, because we do not want to come into this runway at 100 knots or anywhere near there. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I brought that nose up to bleed off some of that airspeed. Now the runway is going to disappear a little bit as we pull that nose up. So we got this little quarter panel to maintain our positioning. Because our nose has to be up, has to be up. Get ourselves nice, get ourselves settled down on this runway. Drop the nose a little bit so we get a little bit of forward speed, and touchdown. Okay, the controller of our aircraft, and we can actually just add a little bit of throttle to get some forward speed, and we can taxi off the runway with our wheels. Okay. And always remember, guys, a good landing is a landing that you can walk away from. So yeah, that was, and we will clear the whole short lines, and we will contact ground control at this point after clearing the whole short lines. Okay, so we're here at Williamsport Airport. Okay, this was a pilotage and directing lesson, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's go outside and let's talk about the 5 major components of an aircraft. You can see the landing gear there. Let's come on out to our park brakes on. I don't want to take my attention off without locking up the park brakes for a second. So let's go outside to our landing spot, and we'll talk about the 5 major components of an aircraft. I'll take the head tracking off, and let's swing on over here. So the 5 major, well, not 5 major components, there's actually 1, but let's start. We have our main rotors. There's 2 in this one case. Our main rotors are used to produce the vertical lift to support the weight of the helicopter in the air. We have the landing gear. The landing gear support the weight of the aircraft on the ground. We have the fuselage, which houses the cockpit, passengers, cargo. We have the power plant. Power plant, well, we can kind of see them out here right now. Let's get better angle there. So we can see the power plants right there. And there is a transmission. I believe there's got to be some type of transmission, because in the power plants here, we have a rotor up there, so there has to be a transmission linkage to these. I'm going to do a more in-depth. Typically, helicopters will have a transmission, because these rotors actually need to be in sync. They need to be in sync so they don't tap each other. So they have to be synchronized to turn when we add power or lower power. Okay. That's really all I have today, guys. Remember, Saturday is 1400 Eastern. Follow me on Facebook. Guys, if you're preparing for the test, bring your SIFT test questions. Bring your questions to the live stream so I can answer them. Go through your book. You're like, wow, I don't understand this question, or I can't figure out this question, or I don't know what this means. Come to the live stream. I will answer all questions during the live stream. Saturday, 1400 Eastern, for my aviation selection test prep. Aviation selection test battery routes. Navy, Marine Corps. Friday, actually, today at 1700 Eastern. Again, bring your test prep books, come through and ask questions. Doesn't cost you a thing. This is Kieno with STEM with Kieno.com. Thanks for watching.